Hi, I'm Diane Neubauer, Du Yanzi. I'm going to describe some ways that you as a Chinese language teacher might use the reading resources available at the Ignite Chinese website. So we're over at this link here, Reading Corner. And the first thing you'll see is the most recently uploaded story. So you see the number here and its title. The number really doesn't refer to anything other than which number it was in the order of stories that have been uploaded. So that means we have 70 stories as I'm making this video today. So there's an estimate on about what kind of actful proficiency scale rating this reading would be appropriate for. And then if there may be some tags, in this case there's a cartoon to it with some illustrations. And then the person who uploaded it has a little icon. What day it was uploaded is indicated there. But again, the number is just for convenience to be able to refer to each story as a number as well as by its title. So if you wanted to actually read this, you would click on it. And then you see the really cute cartoon version written here by one of Xiaofeng Foster's students, Mireya. And so you can scroll down there and read the entire thing. I'm just skimming through. You could see it was called Intermediate Mid, so that would be a little bit more of an advanced level, not a level 1 or 2 class, perhaps a level 3 or above, or students who've had a lot more background, though they're younger. And then at the very bottom, you see a clickable link. You can download any of these stories for free and use them as long as you are not profiting by them and you're continuing to give credit to the author of the story. You're free to use this, print it, and give it to your students in class, show it on screen and talk about it and read it together with them, however you'd like to use these. These are shared freely, and as long as you are continuing to use them freely, you're welcome to do so. So that would be how to get one particular story. But let's say you are thinking, well, I'm teaching level 1 students. I want to find the very easiest possible things that they could read, maybe even read on their own. So a couple ways to do that. Let's say you have a particular word that you want them to see in print. Maybe it's Mao, cat. It's going to find me anything that mentions a Mao. It won't rate it by level, and I have not yet found it possible to do like Mao and novice. It gives me an error message. There's another couple of workarounds for that. So here's Mao, even in the title there. In here there's going to be something with a Mao. So you could skim through these. There's Mao and Haipa, these sorts of things. That's, oh, one of my students. Another one of my students, also mentioning Mao because, of course, the word panda and baby panda also has Mao in it. In fact, several of my students have written about Mao. So you could glance through here and think, oh, well, I'm still looking for level 1 talking about Mao. So we're looking for something that says novice low, perhaps. There's one by a student of mine. Here's another one. But then, again, that's panda instead of strictly cat. This one likewise looks like we've got xiong mao instead of just mao. So you could decide if those are appropriate for you or not. Novice high is a little bit higher than maybe a level 1 at this time of year. It depends on your class. You could scan through there. Perhaps it happens that that's all familiar language. Then you're good to go. So that would be a keyword search. Another way that I just used today in class with my level 2, with my, we call it intermediate, but it's the second year, I had them choose from novice low or novice mid stories. So they clicked the categories, novice low, and then they got a nice long list of anything that was tagged as, or categorized rather, as novice low. Several of them picked this story by Bu Meilang about Donald Trump wanting to get into the White House. Very popular political topics right now. Several from my students, and this list will grow. But you can see we have quite a few that are marked novice low. In fact, there's 3 pages already of short stories that are novice low. Let's say that we wanted to use A Boy with a Problem. We'd click on the name of the story again. we see the author is Avery, one of my students, and then you can download it here at this clickable link. Let's say though you're now wanting your students to read these independently, but they're having a little bit of trouble. Well, one thing is make your screen size bigger, but there's another couple of possibilities. Let's say your student is having some trouble with these words, but you feel like you have introduced them. You're not giving them something, overloading them with new information. You want to keep it pretty comprehensible. So, but they want a little support while they're reading. ChineseReaderRevolution.com is very useful for that. You can paste the text there, and my preference is to keep it characters only, generally. You can add space between words, which can be very helpful for someone who is an English language reader trying to read Chinese for the first time. If you add tones, that will give you the tone colors that I believe its third tone is green. Let's see, first tone is red, I believe. So it uses that set of tone colors. I would say keep off the definitions, and then you click annotate. As we wait for it to show up, we see we have the whole text, but as I hover over it, I can see the definition of any of those words. A couple other ways to use that. Let's say I know that I'm total beginner here, and I teach my total beginners just in Pinyin. Then I can have a Pinyin copy of this made for them right there. So, and if I hover, now I see what characters they look like. So let's say I needed a Pinyin version. I can now copy this from Chinese Reader Revolution and use it directly. I teach them reading that always uses characters, so there are a couple options for that. Let's say it's my level 1 class at the end of the year. I think they know about that many characters already. And this will give them a few more just quick helps with Pinyin right next to it. A little bit hard to see, but might be a possibility that you like. I still prefer that one, characters, and hover and see the definition up at the top. So that's one way that they can read it a little bit more independently. Let's say you are really hoping to see this in traditional script. No converter is absolutely perfect, but this is the link that we've provided on the instructions about the Great Mandarin Reading Project. So you can copy the text in there and convert it. And then you would want to copy and paste this, Control A, Control A, Control C. Now you have that on your clipboard. You can put it anywhere. And anytime you're transferring between the two types of script, you might want to double check that they all came out right. Although sometimes it can be a helpful exercise for students to kind of see a little bit of one or the other. Likewise, here's the same website, traditional back to simplified. And you double check again to make sure that looks okay for you. Another couple of nifty tools without having to copy and paste anything is either Para or Zhongwen, the pop-up dictionaries. I've used both. Right now I have Zhongwen on my computer, and you can turn it on and off right up here in the right corner of my screen. So I'll turn it on and I'll go back to that same reading. Ta-da! It's giving me pop-up dictionary assistance anytime I hover. Let's say I don't want it. Go over here. I'm just reading on my own. Oh, wait a minute. What's that? Wenti. Oh, okay. And I keep going. And look, there it is again. Wenti. So hopefully those tools can help students even with independent reading using this website. I think I've hit everything I hoped to talk about. If you have questions or suggestions, we would be happy to entertain them. Please send us a message over in project instructions. You can see full details about how you might add your own stories or stories written by your students. There's guidelines to read there, links to those helpful websites and tools, and then there's links to a blank copy where you could submit a story. You copy and paste your story into this template. There's these project guidelines you can download, and then you are welcome to send any reading that you'd like to contribute to Haiyun or to me. and there's several others of us who are involved here. Also, Xiaofeng Foster is helping to kind of oversee this. Hopefully it will be very useful for you. I've found it a great experience for my students to read other students' writing. It somehow feels more compelling and more interesting to them than when I write for them for whatever reason. Yeah, thanks.